I didn't want to tell you until I knew for sure.
Hello. Sorry, I woke up really late. I'm tired, but we shall move on. You guys met my target, so I cannot go back on my word. I'm boiling potatoes for people who haven't started boiling their potatoes. You can I'll charge it now. So you can start boiling your potatoes. Usually not a fan of potatoes generally, so I always flavor it with onions and salt. Oops. So I need to find a place to hold my phone like we did for the jollof class. And so if you haven't started, you can start now. Peel your potatoes, boil it until soft. I cannot give you a time for how long potatoes will boil, because it depends on how the size of the potatoes, size of water, how fast your cooker burns, that kind of thing. So I am if you can't see me now, don't worry, you can hear me, that's fine. I'm putting my phone down so I can slice onions and then salt it. So salt, why would I add Indomie spices to potatoes? No. So it's just onions and salt. Let me put my phone down. Let me get my charger. Let's all chop onions, boil that into. It's just to give it some extra flavor. I picked that tip from I think either Jamie Oliver or Nigella. When they want to make like mashed potatoes, they season the potatoes so that it tastes really nice. So let me put my phone down. I'm still here. You just can't see me because I don't have a mobile phone stand. So the only thing I'm doing now is I'm slicing onions into the pot where I'm boiling the potatoes, so that I can flavor the potatoes. If you've already boiled your potato, that's fine. Today it's going to be much later than I promised, but we are still going ahead regardless. So I'm still here. The phone is just down because I need my hands. I don't have a mobile phone stand, so I need my hands. The only thing I'm doing right now is I'm boiling potatoes, and I'm seasoning the potatoes by boiling it with onions and salt. You don't need anything else. There's no need for seasoning cubes because the potatoes are still going to absorb flavor from the mince or the ground beef. In America or Canada, I think you guys call it ground beef. In the UK and across Europe, we call it mince. So if you haven't boiled your potatoes, you can start now with me. I'm not doing anything extra special. I'm only boiling my potatoes with onions and salt, just to give it extra flavor. Onions and so onions and salt, that's all. Nothing special. You can also add yes, I do that too sometimes. So treat your onions like you are boiling rice. So no onions. Treat your potatoes like you're boiling rice. You know, sometimes I know my mom used to do it. She would boil rice with chopped onions and a little vegetable oil. It's just to season it, because you know all these starchy compounds can be quite bland. So just a little bit dash of oil and salt and onions. That's all. Thank you. Yeah, that's all. So what am I making? Okay, can everybody tell perfect team what I'm making? I'm making meat pie. Yes, no, don't boil your carrots and onions. No, just boil your potatoes. So I've seasoned the potatoes with salt, vegetable oil, and onions. Because what I normally find with a lot of meat pies that I've tried is the meat pie will taste nice, the filling will taste nice, but the minute your teeth cut through the potatoes, you just get this blandness that comes through. And I'm a very picky eater. I pick up flavors very easily, so I want every component of the filling to taste very nice. I want the potatoes to be so yummy that you can even pick it out and be eating it. So don't boil your carrots and your onions. Boil your potatoes with, you can use sweet potatoes as well. The only problem is sweet potatoes have a, what's that word now? My brain is tired. So no, it's not the sweetness. They mush easily. They don't have as much integrity as Irish potatoes. So what would happen is it's likely going to turn to baby food inside your meat pie. Irish potatoes will still stay firm in your meat pie. Sweet potatoes, because of the sugar content and the water content, it has a higher water and sugar content than Irish potatoes. So that's why it's not advisable, but you can try. I don't know why you're likely not going to get a good result, so let's not even go there. Yes, so there's nothing to see really. My host, who said I should not mention her name, and I'm saying she will kill me if I do. She's helping me in the background to chop carrots and then onions as well. Some people add peas to their meat pie. I'm not a fan. I would rather add red chili or green chili just for that extra heat. I don't use peas. I don't like. You can't pay me except with mushy peas. That's the only way I eat peas. Okay, so hi Jessica, how are you? So you can add peas. I just personally don't like it. I don't like peas. Let me go turn off the central heating. It's getting hot here. Hold on, I'm here. Okay. Yes. So yes. While we wait for the potatoes to boil, I will just be reading through and answering as many questions as I can. I really, honestly, sincerely apologize. I woke up early and thought, oh great, checked some emails, responded to some customers, and I went back to sleep. And I woke up and I was so tired, really tired. So I should not have gone back to sleep. What you're looking at is potatoes, for those who are just joining, potatoes boiled with salt, vegetable oil, and onions. I treat my potatoes the way I treat boiled rice, because as nice as meat pie is, or even some who make amazing meat pie, I hate when I get to the potato chunks in the meat pie, it tastes bland. Yes, you can salt potatoes, but try it for anybody who hasn't started. Boil your potatoes with oil, salt, and onions and taste it. It will be so good that you won't even mind eating just ordinary potatoes. So that is, we haven't gotten to the dough yet, so I'm sorry I can't answer any questions that, we haven't gotten to the ground beef yet as well. The reason why I don't want to start on the ground beef is because ground beef notoriously gets dry. So if you cook ground beef ahead of when you want to use it, you would have to reconstitute it with water or stock. And ain't nobody trying to cook that thing twice. So I think while we wait for the potatoes to boil, because it can take about 30 minutes, and my host is kindly helping me to chop carrots and onions, then let's start on the dough. So I will clear a space on the kitchen island, and then we can start on the dough. Yes, some people have asked me if they can use self-raising flour. Yes, you can use self-raising flour, but do not use pasta flour. Pasta flour, for those who live abroad, is 00 grade. Don't do that, because the gluten in that one is much higher than regular flour. 00 grade flour is meant for bread. If you use it for pastries, it will be so hard. So it's meant for bread. So regular flour is best. You can use self-raising as well. That one works as well. All-purpose self-raising. Do not, if you have pasta flour, if your bag of flour reads pasta flour, just sit down and don't do anything and just watch me, because you will not like the end result. Pasta flour, bread grade flour is not good for short crust pastry. What we are trying to make right now is short crust pastry. Please don't use salted butter. No, don't use salted butter. It's going to have this taste when you are done. Don't use salted butter. If all you have at home is salted butter, just sit this one out and watch me. So I'm going to clear space on the kitchen counter now. and then I'll get out the flour, salt, baking powder, and butter. I wanted to use the food processor to make this thing because I'm tired, but you know what? I will go the whole 9 yards and use my hand because I'll have to hold the phone in one hand and mix in another hand. But if it gets too clumsy, I'll go get out the food processor to make it. You joined late. You've not missed anything. I'm only boiling potatoes with oil, salt, and onions. That's all. You've not missed anything. Irish butter, it's either salted or unsalted. Any butter you buy is either salted. So if you can't find the pack, just taste it. If it tastes salted, it is salted. Do not use salted butter for meat pie. You will not like the flavor at the end of the day. It has to be unsalted. You can use butter or you can use margarine. It's easier for me to find butter in America compared to like margarine. So in Nigeria, the meat pie we all grew up loving that our aunties and moms used to make, it was margarine that they used to make it, because butter is not something that we have traditionally in Nigeria. We don't really have access to fresh milk. All-purpose flour, yes. Yeah, regular butter, regular unsalted butter. For those that are in the US, somebody said she wants to go to the shops right now, except the shops are like really next to you. Anyways, you can still join in. Unsalted butter. Yes, the potatoes are peeled. Do not use semi-salted, unsalted butter. You will taste the salt in it, which is not that great. Yes, you can use Crisco shortening in place of butter as well. You can use self-raising flour. Yes, I for extra measure to get the flour, the short course pastry extra flaky, I add baking powder. Wheat flour, no. I haven't cut the potatoes in tiny pieces. You don't do that, because if you do that, by the time the potatoes boil, you end up with baby food. So you have to boil the potatoes whole and then let it cool down and then you chop. So I'm putting my phone down now. I'm still here. I just want to go clear the space on the kitchen counter, wipe it dry, and then we start. I'm still here. Okay, you have to make your stew.
I mean, you can use where you want, but I close it for you.
That was like I'm still here. Oh, fantastic. I'm still here. I'm just trying to get. I'm still here. I just want to clean the surface where I want to start the flour, because there's no point just staring at the potatoes when I can do something else. At the same time, I can't use Clorox. Yeah, that's I'm still here. For those who are just joining in, it's only black because I only have 2 hands like everybody else. So I'm just trying to clean the surface of what we are going to start working on. Apologize, there's no domestic help here to help. We do everything ourselves that everybody needs. So just give me a few minutes to prep the surface. I woke up late. I'm tired. So we are only boiling the potatoes. I am still here. I'm about to start on the flour. So if you have flour, self-raising flour, all-purpose flour, you have your baking powder, your measuring cups, or your weighing scale, you can bring it out now while we start. So bring out your flour, your baking powder, your on the rack, on push forward. Do you have baking? Do you have baking? Push forward. I don't think it would be baking tray actually. Okay, so let me show you guys what I have what I'm using. Let me get my charger and get my laptop as well so I can confirm the recipe because my brain is tired. So let me show you what I have. Ta-da! All-purpose flour, which I said. Self-raising is fine as well. 00 grade or pasta flour is a no. It's a definite no. So, you don't use pasta flour for short crust pastry. In baking terms, or any baker who is on the call right now or on the live right now will know what I mean by short crust pastry. So you don't use pasta flour for short crust pastry. So all-purpose flour, baking powder, unsalted butter. Is that simple? No. You cannot use gluten-free flour. Definitely not. Definitely not. Yes, you see, enriched, bleached, all those extra bleached or non-bleached, those are just fancy Oyinbo words. The regular flour our grandmothers bought in the market in Lagos is what I'm talking about. All-purpose flour. I know that when you live abroad, your options widen, so it can be quite confusing. Plain flour, regular flour, all-purpose flour, or self-raising, if at the worst, or self-raising. So let me just put this phone down and then go and get measuring cups and measuring spoon. I don't have a mobile phone stand, so I'm sorry it's not going to be the best, but hey, those who joined my jollof class and my puff class, this is how we did it too, and we still got great results from it. So we will make it work, don't worry. I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't have all the not do I intend to. I don't have all the gear. But hey, we are in quarantine period. The world is adjusting to how we do business. Nobody is expecting perfection from anybody anymore right now. So I've wiped the surface, cleaned it. It's all dry now, and then I'll get a mixing bowl so I can mix all the ingredients and show you. No, not baking soda, please. It has to be baking powder. You can use margarine as well. If you live in Nigeria, Blue Band or those Anchor, is it called Anchor? Those ones, those baking but they call them baking butters that bakers use. That is fine as well. I'm just using unsalted butter because that's what is easy to find in America. Let me get the mixing bowl. I'm still here. As long as you can hear my voice, I'm still here. I also want to check on the potatoes because if it's too soft, it becomes baby food. So I'm still here. I'm checking on the potatoes. No, it's still hard, but the baby ones are better. The smaller size potatoes, I think they're really soft. It's the big one that is still quite firm. Okay, so mixing bowl. I have my mixing bowl here. Let me just, I don't want to do this from memory because yeah, regular flour, regular butter. No, meat pie it's very simple to make. There's no need for any extra drama. So 3 cups. So are you guys ready now? Yes, topper margarine. Yes, topper margarine. That's fine. So the reason why I'm starting the flour now is because you need to rest the dough. Resting the dough means after you've kneaded it, you need the gluten molecules to break down and make the dough smoother. It's a long chemistry story that I don't intend to get into. So this is a mixing bowl here. So once I've made the dough, I've kneaded it lightly, then I put it in the fridge to chill, and then once it chills and the dough is resting, then we'll start on the mince. Let me check any questions. So regular, salt. Any salt? If you also have milk at home, this is the best time to go and get it, because there are times when you need milk. I may or may not need it, but I'm going to get it just in case, because sometimes the meat pie dough, because people have come. I remember when I wrote the blog years ago, people came to me to say, but Junie, they tried it and the dough was still flaking. They did not know what to do. They abandoned it. Milk. No, the top one. Yeah, so if you have milk at home or powdered milk at home, go and get it. Thank you so much. Go and get milk, because milk, if you are cooking live with me, milk could just save our asses right now. So I have my milk here as emergency. 3 cups of flour. Please, it's the standard measuring cup, not drinking cup. Oh, this is a standard measuring cup. 3 cups of flour. I'm sorry I don't have a mobile phone stand. We live in quarantine period. Everything can be perfect. We'll just manage. So 3 cups of flour. If you can't find, if you are not able to find flour in your local store, check the African or Asian stores. People are buying stuff these days as if we are going through an apocalypse. Well, you just feel like an apocalypse sometimes. Okay, you can't even hug your neighbors, hug your friends. So 3 cups. 1, 3 cups. See, I need my second hand. So I'm just measuring. I'm measuring 3 level cups. You shake it to make it level. 2, 3 cups. 3. So this is 3 cups. 3 cups of flour. There is an addendum. If you want to convert cups to grams, just check Google. I'm sorry, I don't have that information in my head. So just check Google. So 3 cups of flour, 250 grams of margarine. So right now this says 454, which is almost 500. So I just have it because I don't have a weighing scale here. So 250. So the recipe is 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm trying to get my baking powder. Three cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 250 grams of margarine or butter. I can't hold the phone all the time. I need my hands. I don't have a mobile phone stand. If you can buy me one, I won't reject it. But how are you going to get one delivered to me? So 250 grams of butter. So this is 454 grams of butter. So I'm just going to roughly about halve it. Let me get a knife, and so I can halve it, and then we start. So it's regular unsalted butter, and as luck will have it, there are 4 sticks of butter here, which is going to help me halve it. So let me get a calculator, because if 4 hold on. So I have a calculator here. So 454 grams of butter, and there are 4 sticks here. So for those of you who live abroad, and this is what you're getting. So 454 divided by 4 is 113. 113 times 2 is 227. So I will use 2 sticks of butter and then a quarter of a third stick. So this is how the butter is coming. In the UK, we don't sell our butter like this. It comes in one big block. So let me try and put the phone to one side so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Hold on. So this is okay. All right. This is doable. So you can see. So this right here is 227 grams of butter. So I will get the third stick and just cut a little bit out of it to get 250 grams. So 250 grams of butter or margarine, shortening, baking butter. Don't use the vegetable oil, is not the same. I know you may sound like, oh, everybody should know that, but when you teach a class, you assume nothing. So here we go. So I've just cut a little bit out of it, and that should be roughly about 250 grams. Thankfully, meat pie is not like cake, so even if you get the proportions a little wrong, you can fix it. So let me just remove the sticks of butter. It's already solid, so I'm cutting the butter into the flour. Let me try and find something so that the phone can sit on, so that you don't just look at the bowl alone. Hold on, I'm looking for something in the house that it can. I'm adding a pinch of salt, just a little pinch of salt, nothing extra dramatic, just a little pinch of salt. Okay, so I'm holding the phone. Now this is too high. It's too high, or it's too okay. You know what? I'll use one hand. You just have to bear with me. No, how long am I going to hold this for? You have work to do. You have food to cook now. Don't worry. Thank you. So is 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt, and 250 grams of butter. So you are trying to form a crust. It's easier to do this in a food processor. If I get frustrated, I'm going to go and get the food processor. But anyways, you let your body temperature warm the butter up, and then you form a crust. A crumb. Sorry, it's going to look like breadcrumbs. So you sift the flour and butter in between your fingers. The butter is going to get warmer because of your body temperature, and then you form a crumb. You can add somebody asked that can you add spices to your flour? Yes, you can. You can actually add spices to the flour, but not to give free advert to Mr. Biggs, but the Mr. Biggs meat pie is what made a lot of us fall in love with meat pie. The Mr. Biggs meat pie, the crust, I can never forget what it tasted like. So I just feel like while yes you can season the flour, it's that nostalgic feeling that you get when you eat meat, when you make or eat meat pie. If you season the flour, it just disappears. So while you can season the flour, I just use salt and baking powder is fine. So I'm pushing the butter through my fingers. It's melting, and I'm trying to form a crumb. If you want to season your flour, please do go ahead and do that. I don't. Sometimes some things that you just want to keep simple. This is one of it. Most times when you eat short crust pastry, either meat pie or apple pie or they don't season the flour. There's no point. The filling is where all the yummy goodness lies. So why would you want to just waste that? Anyways,
Someone asking, use melted butter. Use melted butter.
Yeah, you can. The problem with using melted butter is it will turn to vegetable oil, and trust me, in my days of baking experiments, unless you are sitting down with the microwave like a hawk, so that you just when it gets soft, then you start. But if you melt it and it turns into vegetable oil, just wait for that butter to harden again. So yes, it would take a few moments, but again, it's a live class. Don't worry, I will. Instagram only lets you do live for an hour.
Someone said, is it the same process for chicken pie?
Yes, I'm making chicken pie too as well. So I'm going to repeat this twice. So I'm making meat pie and chicken pie. I have chicken breast at home, I have two mixing bowls, I have 2 frying pans. We are going to make meat pie and chicken pie today.
Someone said, please can I bake with the oven?
Bake what with
the meat pie?
Yes, you have to bake the meat pie in the oven. We are still very far from there. We are very, very, very far. So you have to do this because if you there are some pastries that you make. I think not choux pastry, sorry, the croissant pastry, where you have to leave chunks of butter in the flour. You don't do that with what's called puff pastry. Thank you.
Can I make my crust and leave it to the side while I make the filling?
Yes, you have to. That's what we are doing now. We are making, so because I'm making meat pie and chicken pie, I'm going to repeat this process twice in another bowl. Normally I would have doubled the recipe, but I wanted you guys to see how my recipe is.
Can I use baking lard instead of butter?
Yes, you can use lard as well. Again, butter or margarine or Crisco shortening, that's all you can use. This is not puff pastry, so you have to ensure that all the butter dissolves into the flour. If not, you are going to have a disaster on your hands when you bake it, because when you bake it, the butter is going to melt. It's not going to soak your dough, and then you end up with a huge old mess. So please.
How many potatoes did you boil?
I boiled about, I think, 10 or 11 pieces. Again, the number of potatoes you boil depends on how many pieces of meat pie you are making. Should
you drain the water from the potatoes, or?
You have to drain the water. If you don't, take out the potatoes from the hot water. Let it cool down before you cut it. If you don't let it cool down before you cut it, you end up with baby food. So, you can see that there are chunks of butter. That's a very common mistake that people make. You must dissolve all the butter. I'm probably going to go and get out a food processor because this thing.
Somebody just asked, can we use a mixer?
Yes, you can use you can't use a mixer for this stage. You can use a food processor, because what you're trying to do is to cut the butter so that it mixes with the flour. I'm most likely going to go and get out the food processor. Ain't nobody got time for this. Yeah. It can take quite a while. The only reason why I did this by hand is because not everybody has a food processor. But for the second batch I'm going to make, the one for chicken pie, I am going to go and get at the food processor.
No melted butter, please.
Yeah, so that's the only problem with melted butter. You have to. It's a baking science thing. Once you get it to the oil consistency, you've killed your dough before you even started.
Someone said mine has turned to a ball. What's going on? What could they do to rectify that?
What do you mean by yours has turned to a ball? Did you add any egg don't add any egg or water or milk now, because the butter, you can still see that there's still lots of chunks of butter here. So make sure you have all the butter melted into the flour before you add any eggs, because again, what will happen is when you are rolling the dough, the butter will start melting. This beginning to get it right, because butter is just going to screw you over. It's only in puff pastry for those who are making like croissant and all those fancy Danish pastries that you have to leave chunks of butter in the flour, because the melting of the butter is part of why croissants texture is the way it is. We are trying to make what is called short crust pastry.
So can they use the microwave? Unless, it means only if your microwave has a convection oven that you can use it to bake.
Yes, you can't use your microwave to bake, except if your microwave. There are some microwaves that are microwaves with convection ovens. If you just microwave that warms food, you say no.
How many meat pies would we have? With
About 6. It's about 6. It's just 2 of us in the house here, so I didn't want to make too much at the beginning.
We could have a.
I think meat pie is one of those things where once you put it inside the fridge or freezer, you've killed it. I might as well just make a fresh batch every other day or so, every other week or something, rather than making a huge batch and then putting it in the freezer.
I'm going to put it down for now because I have to take out the
Yes,
potatoes.
you see. So, so my host has to go get out the potatoes. So that's why we don't have a mobile phone stand here. Amazon doesn't consider it essential items. So if you order it now, you get it in May. So don't. So I tried. I did try to find one. You can't get something like that online right now. The world is going to hell at the moment. Nobody cares about YouTubers. So yes. So I will go and wash my hands now so I can lift up the phone and then show you. Okay. Yeah. So she's back now. So you can see. Yeah, so you can see that our lovely flour has turned to bread crumbs. Yay! So anybody who just joined in, I have not done anything. You've not really missed anything. All you've seen me do is measure 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 250 grams of butter.
Can the same recipe be used for sausage rolls?
Yes. Because it's what sausage roll, meat pie, chicken pie, fish pie. It's because in Nigeria we don't use the term short crust pastry. That's short as in a short person. SHORT space CRUST. All those pastries we use in not in spring rolls, meat pie, sausage roll, fish pie. They are called short crust pastry.
Someone has clumped together, so
yeah, so if it's clumped together, that's just because the butter is melting, and can you see it's clumping for me as well. It's because of the temperature of your hands. So let me just go wash my hands and then I'll continue forming the pastry. So I'm just washing my hands, then we'll form. So let me just confirm something. I'm still here.
it's good.
Okay, so cold. I'm going to get cold water. Okay, so get me cold water.
How much?
A cup, just regular cup. In any cup. Okay, so I have water here. Thank you so much. I need a bowl so that I can measure the water. So I have water here. You don't pour in all your water at once. If you pour it in at once, it's going to end in tears. So this is a cup of water, and then you start to pour the water a little bit. Just a little bit.
Did you add salt to the crust?
Yes.
Okay, so someone asked the
Yes, I added salt, yes. So you add the water gently.
Have you ever tried milk in place of water?
You can use milk as well, but I tend to you see where you need milk now. So this is just 1 cup of water that I'm adding gently.
Is it regular room temperature water?
Yes, yeah. Water from the tap, nothing special.
How much water are you using?
So I have started with a cup, right? And I still have some left in the bowl.
I use egg and milk instead of water?
You can, but again, this is my recipe, so you can. Now, this happened to me when I blogged, and I'm happy that it's happening to me again, so that you can see the where you need the milk. So this is a cup of
Yeah,
this is a cup of
if
water.
you use salted butter, don't use salt again.
This is a cup of. I wouldn't even advise you use salted butter at all because your pastry will taste very salty. So this is a cup of water, and I did not finish it. So that's about three. So basically, I use about 3/4 of a cup of water. So this happened to me the last time almost every time I make meat pie, to the point where it has turned to like my signature recipe. So if this happens to you, do not panic, do not fret, don't go adding more flour because you are just going to spiral into hell. Paste, do you get? So don't panic, just get milk. I'm trying to get milk out. So just get milk, especially cold milk. A 1/4 cup of cold milk, and it will.
People are still trying to use baking soda.
Don't use baking soda, please. Baking powder. Baking. The reason why I don't want you to add more flour is you're going to make your pastry very doughy. Remember that by the time we start to roll this pastry, we are going to be adding flour on the work surface. So if you start to add flour now, you are going to the balance of butter and flour, you're going to throw it off. I hate doughy pastry. It's like you're chewing flour. So don't get tempted to add flour when this happens to you, because by the time you now get to the point where you are rolling the pastry and you're adding more flour, what will happen is the ratio of flour to butter will now be skewed, and then your pastry will be doughy. So Aina Garten, bless her, the food goddess of Food Network herself, says you use a 1/4 cup of milk when you get to this point where it seems like what you have. Again, you can use eggs, so I just don't. I'm the kind of person, it sounds very crazy, but I taste egg in baked goods. No matter how sweet or delicious your cake is, eggs, I will just taste it.
Is it powdered milk or semi-skimmed?
Powdered milk mixed with water is fine. I'm in America right now, so I have access to fresh milk. Powdered milk works as fine. So I don't use eggs in pastry because I can taste the eggs. So I need my hand now. Okay. Thank you. So a 1/4 cup of milk. So a 1/4 cup of milk, and you see almost like magic. Can you see already that the milk is working? You know, before I added the milk, the pastry was literally sticking to my fingers, and I've not even added all the milk, and you can see that it is doing better already. Also,
2% milk.
Any milk is fine, because it's what the milk is doing is also a science. It's because there's milk fats.
What is the consistency of the pastry that you needed the milk?
The pastry was sticking to let me show you. The pastry was sticking to my fingers before, right? It was sticking to, can you see? So because milk, so you know what, don't use 2% fat milk. You know why? Because the 2% milk has very, very low fat in it. The reason why the milk is helping is because of the milk solids, which basically is the milk fat.
What type of milk are you using?
I'm using whole milk. So powdered milk, pig milk, nido milk. If you use the skinny people milk, those 2% or 0% milk, there's no fat in it. So the reason why the pastry is behaving now is because there's fat in the milk. So you can see already that it is doing better than before.
Can you use oat, soy, or almond milk?
No. You can also use coconut milk, but don't use oats or soy milk. I know, again, if you are lactose intolerant, don't worry about the fact that Junior, I don't drink milk because I'm lactose intolerant. It's going to bake.
Someone is asking how much sugar. Did you use sugar?
No, I didn't use sugar at all.
I was like,
so if you can remember a few moments before this, the dough wasn't behaving at all. So you can see now that it is doing better.
What if the pastry doesn't stick?
It will stick. If it doesn't stick, then that means that you didn't use enough butter. It definitely will stick. It should stick. If it's not sticking, you didn't use enough butter. So now the pastry is doing is doing much better. Don't overwork the pastry, please. Don't overwork it.
Should the powdered milk be dissolved?
Yes, dissolve the powdered milk in cold water.
Can you use 3%?
No, whole milk.
Lactate for lactose intolerant people.
Again, if you're lactose intolerant, which I am, I'm mildly lactose intolerant. It's going to bake, so don't worry. So don't worry, you can see now that the dough is doing better because of the milk fats in whole milk.
What about evaporated milk?
Same. No, not evaporated milk, because evaporated milk has reduced fat in it. So here we go. It's doing much better. I will just sprinkle just a little flour, just a little flour. Yeah, a little flour, and then here we go. So you see, it's doing much better than before. Just a little flour. Any questions that you're asking?
You said I should stop asking redundant questions.
Okay, so here we go. You don't want to if you overwork your pastry, it will turn out it will not be short crust again. I don't know how to describe it. It will not be short crust again. So don't mix your dough. Don't mix it too much at all. Don't mix it too much. So if it's still sticking to your hand, it's fine. You just need to get cling film now, and then you rest the pastry. So let me wash my hands. You can put the phone down so that I can rest the pastry in the fridge, or I'll make another batch. So I'm about to make another batch of flour because I'm making chicken pie as well, so that we end up with about 12 pies, 6 meat pies, and then 6 chicken pies. So I'm going to get the food processor so that I can show you what you do with the food processor. I have to open it. I'm still here. Chicken stew. Okay, so no, you can blend. So I have a food processor here. I haven't even opened it. I will open it now and then make the second batch so that you guys can see what making pastry in a food processor looks like. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm trying to dismantle. Get out. I'm still here. Let me get out the food processor from the box, and then we make the second batch with the food processor. So I want to show you guys what it looks so you can remember. Look at what the dough looks like now. It looks like it's a little rough. It looks like I've made mistake. If you are getting this one, you've not. Just put it on a cling film or in a nylon bag. Put it in the fridge. Let the dough chill. When it's chilling, the dough is resting. The gluten bonds are breaking down. In about 30-40 minutes, you have your dough perfect. You will see a difference. So in that time, while we are waiting for the dough to chill or to rest, we will make the meat pie filling and the chicken pie filling. We'll make them side by side. So let me put this on cling film and then get this out of the packaging, and then we make another batch of dough. So you can see I've done the manual version. Here is the dooneys gadgets version. You can bring what
here.
So, wrapped in cling film. You can see how rough it is, how knobbly it is in cling film. And then I'm putting it in the fridge. You have to put it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. Just to allow the dough to rest. At least 30 minutes. So I'm washing my hands now and then so let me get this out of the out of the packaging. I haven't used it since I bought it though.
You don't have to use the Ninja Blender one. It's too much.
It is too small.
Oh,
Too small. So I'm just getting it out of the packaging. I'm still here. I will answer some questions before I start the mint. So let me just get this out. I haven't used it before. So all I want to just show you is how to make your short crust pastry using a food processor. You can't do a mixer because the mixer is not going to chop. It's not going to chop the butter. It has to be a food processor. It's after you've gotten your crumb that you can now use a mixer. So let me I know that's why with the online class and everything, it's a paid for class, and I've gotten all these things ready. There'll be a videographer and everything, but this is Instagram live, so everything can be perfect. So yes, if you have baking, if you are using self-raising flour, you can still add a little extra baking powder. It just gives. It's too small because it will shrink. Let me. No, it's too small. It will shrink and to turn to the size of Meatpie. Oh, sorry, of maize. Hold on. Why do they use so much packaging and all this stuff? Yes, I've gotten the food processor out now. Yes, if you have self-raising flour, still use baking powder. It's fine. It just gives you, it makes your pastry even more flaky, which I love. I love flaky pastry. So I'm just trying to assemble the food processor so that you guys can see. For those of you who have food processor at home, imagine if you're trying to make meat pie for like a whole family of, I don't know, 4 children and daddy and mommy, and you're making it by hand. You're gonna get frustrated. So just use a machine. It takes seconds. In seconds, you're done. So just this is the same food processor that you use for what's it called, for pounded yam and everything. Okay. So plug in this now. See, I'm assembling. Again, it's Instagram live. I don't have a mobile phone holder, so there's no way I can keep my phone that it will stay. So I have to use one hand to do some things. I have never even assembled this one before, so I don't even know how to assemble it. Let me go check. It should be like a regular food processor. It should not be anything. No. I'm still here. It's dark because I need my hands. Again, we made jollof rice and we did jollof rice video now and puff video with this same one hand method, and people still nailed it. So please don't complain. No, it is the time that we live in. There's no mobile phone. What am I doing wrong now? I'm still here. I'm trying to figure out how to assemble this food processor. Ngozi. Hold on. I'm just trying to figure it out. I feel like there's something missing. Oh, okay. I did it. Yes, I did it. So here we go. Assembled. Assembled. This is the lid as well. assembled. I'm still here. It's just dark because I'm trying to assemble a food processor that I have never used in my life before. It's not a Kenwood or a KitchenAid that I can use in my sleep. So just bear with me. Let me try and figure out how this thing. Ooh, go girl. Oh no, it did not work. But I think I'm there. No. See, I'm trying to make this with a food processor so you guys can see how you can do it, make it faster. If you want to do meat pie as a business, for example, how long are you going to be using your hand? Invest in your business, get gadgets, and make your life easier. So let me just cover this milk. So it will go dark for a few seconds. I'm trying to close this food processor. I have never used it before, so I'm trying to figure out how it works. It looks like this is, yes, that's it. Hold on. Okay, good. So I figured it out. It works. Let me turn it on and be sure that it works, and I'm not going to electrocute myself. So puree mix. Woo! It's working. Boom! So it's working. So let me add the flour, the butter, and then we go. I'm still here. Fresh. No, you had one already. You know I was telling them. It's fine. Butter is okay. So I didn't want to get my measurements off, so I wanted to get another pack of butter. So I'm still here. Let us now make meat pie dough or chicken pie dough using a food processor. You see how much faster it is compared to using your hand. So let me put the phone on a surface so that you can see. Can you see? Woo! Good. So the phone is staying in place. Thank goodness. So let me measure again. Go through the same process: sticks of butter, flour, baking powder, and everything. So let me measure. If you make pounded yam, the phone is going to fall. Let me just measure the flour, and then I'll put the phone back, so because I want you guys to see. Oh, where are you? Yes. So flour, 1 cup. I'm going to 3 cups. Two cups, and then a 3rd cup. So 3 cups of flour. Yay! Yes. So I'll add the baking powder now, and then add the butter. In seconds, this would fizzle, it would blend. So baking powder. Added the baking powder, as you can see. I'll add a little salt, just about a smidgen, just to season the flour. That's all, nothing major. Then I'll add the 250 grams of butter, margarine, shortening, anchor butter, baking butter. Depends on where you're from. Lard, what country you are in, what you have access to. Lard. They all come in different forms. Just vegan butter, for those who are ladida people. Vegan butter, those plant-based butter, as long as it is butter, sha. Okay, so I'm adding the butter now. I know you can't see it. Just give me a few moments. I told you I don't have a mobile phone handle, so we'll make this work. Don't worry. And there's no holding a phone constantly is extra work. So, all right. Ooh. I'm adding the butter now. So basically, for those of you who joined late, you are just watching me do it again. That's all. You're watching me do it again. So if you feel like, oh, you've not missed anything, you're just watching me do it again. The first batch that I did, I made it by hand because not everybody has a food processor, but that thing takes time. So I'm making this second batch in a food processor. You can see that I've not done anything differently. Butter, salt, baking powder, 3 cups of flour. So I will close this now. I need my hands. Sorry, I'm putting it back down again to close it. Okay. So I'm just trying to, because I've not used this one before, so I'm trying to see what I'm getting. Look at see why I love my gadgets. Look at what took me like, I don't know, 20 minutes to do, and that has happened in seconds. I don't have a rolling pin too, so we are going to use a bottle. So though I don't have a rolling pin, I didn't remember to buy a rolling pin. So we are going to use a bottle. So you see what took me, this is why I love my gadgets. What took me 20 minutes to do is now happening in a matter of seconds. This one doesn't have any speed. It's just slice, puree, shred, seconds. Look at what it is giving me crumbs now. So let me do it again. Let me close the lid and then close it again. So imagine if you run a business, you want to start selling meat pies, or your children love meat pie, or husband loves meat pie, or you love meat pie too. Everything doesn't have to be about somebody else. It could be about you. You love meat pies as well, but you're like, man, the work is too much. Just get a food processor. The recipe again, 3 cups of flour. Let me see if I can pin it. How do you pin something? Hold on. 3 cups of flour, 250 grams butter or margarine, salt, sprinkling of salt, 1 teaspoon baking powder or 2 teaspoon baking powder. If you are using self-raising flour, use 1 teaspoon baking powder. So here we go. Let me hold on. I want to just get something from my friend. I think it's the sockets of this house. It's the sockets. Yes, so let's check it. Here we go. It even did a better job than my hand. Yeah, so there are still chunks of butter here. Can you see? It's still chunks of butter. Look, now it's almost done. Almost done. So I'll do it again for another few seconds. Okay. Yes. Here we go. This way. Yes. So here we go. You can see what would have taken me. I wouldn't even have gotten to this level with my hand. It has turned into breadcrumbs. All the butter has, you can see, look at that. All the butter has basically been chopped up, and now we can add the water and then add the milk. See, it's done. This is why Dooney loves her gadgets. Okay, so I will add the butter now. Sorry, not the butter, water. Sorry, water. I will go and check Okay, so I'm adding water now. The same way you add it slowly. Hold on. I need like something that has a spout, otherwise this thing is going to just pour everywhere. Okay, so I want to add the water now. I haven't used this one before. Let me just be sure that it's doing the right thing it's supposed to do. Okay, good. It's clumping up together. Let me put my hands down. You can see that it is forming a ball already. You can see. Oops, that will pour water on my laptop. Oh no. You can see that it is forming a ball already. You can see that. So let me finish adding the water and then I'll add the milk. At this point, I'll take it out of the because this is a food processor. It's not a what do you call it? It's not a mixer. So I'll take it out of the food processor and add milk, and then we put it back and put it in the fridge. So we'll soon start. If you're at this stage now, try and get your filling ingredients. Try and get it ready. Try and get your filling ingredients ready. Let me add my 1/4 cup of milk. I'm still here. Let me pour this into a bowl. Add my milk. Okay, if I had a mixer here, I would have done this. I would have finished everything in the mixer, but I'm in America, not in Dooneys' house. So, oh, this is messy business. Okay, so I'm just getting the dough out. I'm still here. Sorry that you can't see anything. I'm getting the dough out of the bowl, and then I'll add milk. Again, I'm making this again because I'm making chicken pie and meat pie at the same on the same class. I'm still here. Let me just get this out of the bowl and try not to cut my hands, because if I cut my hands, it's game over. It's game over. So please let me do it carefully, so that because this blade is very sharp, so that I don't cut my hand or my fingers. Sorry. You see what I was saying? It's very, very sharp. So what I'm trying to do is just to get the dough out, so I don't cut my hands on it, because I can't see where the blade is. So I have to do it very carefully. So give me a few seconds to do it very carefully. Here we go. I've seen the blade now. So once I add the milk and combine the dough better, and then I put it in the fridge. So I'll add milk now and put it in the fridge. What do you want to think this Bluetooth to get hair out of chicken? It wasn't this. I had a friend who was. So I'm adding the milk, a 1/4 cup of milk, just like I did in the first batch. See see already that the minute the milk gets in, then the dough starts to behave. So if you ever make meat pie dough or any sausage roll dough and it gets to this point and you're like, do you know what am I doing? I'm adding flour, just add milk. It will come back together because milk has fat in it. It will come back together. Can you see? Can you see? It will come back together and start to behave itself. But don't make sure you're not overworking the dough. Okay, so I'm almost. Let me just use my hand to make sure. So just knead it gently. Incorporate the milk. The milk has milk fats inside. That is why your dough will behave. Incorporate the milk. So don't go and add more flour and now start getting frustrated. If this happens to you, just remember what Dooneys said. Milk. Just add milk. I know some people use eggs, so don't get me wrong. I just don't like tasting egg in the batter of meat pie. I don't think it's necessary. So I use water and milk. Okay. So here you go. That dough that wasn't behaving, it was falling off. Can you see now that it is now one clump? Can you see? Can you see now? It is now one happy clump. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the first dough that I made. I'm going to put it in the fridge to chill, and then we can start on the meat pie filling and the chicken pie filling as well. I'm making both meat pie and chicken pie. Meat pie and chicken pie. I'm making both today. So just an extra sprinkling of flour just to bind this a little better, and then we rest the dough. So if you're at this stage now, put your dough in the fridge in cling film nylon bag, wash your hands, and then we start the meat pie and chicken pie filling, which is my best part. My favorite part. All right, so I'm just going to put the dough in the fridge. And then wash my hands, and then we can start on the fun part. I'm still here. I'm still here. I just need to wash my hands, and let's get ready for the filling. I'll answer some questions as well, and then we start. even though this dough hasn't rested enough, I just want to show you guys the difference between the two of them. Wait, you know, I say that my tips are like, my tips work because there's a science behind it. So this is the dough that has been resting in the fridge for a while. This is the dough that I just made now. You can see that this is literally, see, it's sticking. Can you see? See, this is the freshly made dough. You can see that it is sticking. It's sticking. Look, I have to pull it off because it's really sticking. This is the freshly made one. Now this is the one that has been resting for a while. Can you see how it's coming off clean? There's practically nothing on the yes, you can put in the fridge overnight as well. There's practically nothing on the cling film, and it hasn't even rested enough. That's why you have to rest your dough. You can see, I don't want it to fall on the floor, which just make me cry. So you can see the difference between the two of them. That's why you have to, it's an essential thing to rest your dough. Rest your dough in the fridge for 30 to 45 minutes or even longer as well. If it takes us 1 hour, for example, to make it would not, I'm just saying, to make the meat pie and chicken pie filling, it's still, the dough is resting. The longer you rest your dough, the better results you get at the end. So you can make your dough the day before you want to make meat pie. If you think that okay, Easter is tomorrow, please don't let any friends and family come, I beg you. We will all celebrate after this is over. Social distancing should still be in place for tomorrow. If your children or you have people you're already living with, you can make your meat pie pastry today and then make your filling tomorrow. Okay, so now you didn't chop the potatoes. So potatoes have been boiled. I know what they will taste like already. They will taste so yummy. Yes. The salt and the beautiful. That is so good. I could eat that alone with stew. Same size as the carrots. I could eat that alone with stew. So good. So good. So now let us start on the meat pie feeding. Let me get everything. It's already been ready, chopped. So just let's chop the potatoes and then let me get the mince out and everything. Hold on. That potato is yum. I love that. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So what did I season the potatoes with? Salt, onions, and vegetable oil. That's too big. Salt, onions, and vegetable oil. So let me get a pan, and then we start. Where's my white pan? And then we start. So my pan is here. Let me go get my mince, get my carrots, get everything gettable. Something has tripped off in your fuse box and affected the sockets. I'll go and check it. Hold on. I'm just trying to charge the phone. No, that's not going to work. Hold on. Hold on, I'm still here. I'm trying to charge the phone at the same time. Why I did not charge my phone overnight? I'm still here. Let me just get things I need, and I hope Instagram is not going to turn this thing off in the next few. You know what? So that it doesn't tune out. Let me end this live because let's do it like this: one live session for making pastry, another live session for making filling, the third live session for baking. So I'm going to end this live session now so that we can start the filling session. That way, if you want to watch it, in 3 different stages. After this is over, you can do that. So I'm ending it now. Let's dial in again another 1 minute, and then because what happened with the puff live session was that after an hour, Instagram cut us off. I could not share the video, and people were complaining that they only got to see the second part. So let me end this one now, share it onto my highlights so it can be there forever, and then we dial back in again for the filling, which is the interesting part. So see you guys soon. Bye bye. Are you sure that you want to end now?